Now, the first private sector-led meeting on investment in Somalia has opened in Nairobi. The two-day Somali Reconstruction and Investment Conference and exhibition aims to showcase the investment opportunities in Somalia by attracting local, regional and multinational investors. CCTV's Jim Keo reports.
Fuel supplier and logistics company SKA International Group has been doing business in Somalia for the last 3 years and has witnessed the worst of it. While business was difficult, recent events have only made the country more attractive, and the company is calling on more investors to set up in Mogadishu and reap the early fruits.
Somalia has turned a new leaf, has a new government, so we are finding it easier to get things in there and easier to do business. Lots of opportunities in Somalia now.
That window of business opportunities as Somalia rises and recovers from 2 decades of conflict is the drive for the first ever Somali Reconstruction and Investment Conference and exhibition, one that the government and business sectors are banking on to boost ongoing efforts to rebuild and develop the country. The 2-day conference seeks to attract local, regional and multinational investors willing to invest their resources to the development of the country.
Let us draw confidence and new ideas from today's special gathering.
There's stability and peace coming back to Somalia. That's why we believe it's the right moment to invest.
Despite the negative headlines, certain sectors are booming, such as the livestock industry, of which Somalia is the world's biggest exporter, telecommunications and the money transfer business. While the country may not have abundant natural resources, there's talk of oil and gas exploration and greenfield opportunities in the banking, health and communication industries. But to grow and expand economically, Somalia needs support.
A stable Somalia is in the interest and the benefits of the entire region.
Helping Somalia and this region to recover will take time, commitment and patience. And none of us approach that task lightly.
Well, the organizers, who are Somali entrepreneurs, are hoping the 2-day event will be a springboard of some sort for Somalia's full economic recovery. But even so, the opportunities are not for the faint-hearted. That said, perception of Somalia as risky still prevails, as there are still pockets of attacks that will discourage investment and make doing business in the country all the more challenging. Jean Keo, CCTV, Nairobi, Kenya.
And as Nairobi plays host to the investment conference, much has been made of Somalia's historical connections to the Kenyan capital, which is home to a large and highly enterprising Somali diaspora, many of whom run thriving businesses. And all Makugu went out to gauge if Somalis living outside the country are keen to invest back home.
After more than 2 decades of war, Somalia is now on the path to recovery. Foreign governments, including the UN, have now started setting up missions in the capital Mogadishu, once a no-go zone due to insecurity. And now, thanks to the recent recognition by the International Monetary Fund, Somalia's government, through the Ministry of Trade, is wooing local and foreign investors. Over the years, Somalis have transformed Nairobi's Eastleigh. Here, they run a variety of businesses. They control the trade here. No wonder the area is called Little Mogadishu. The amount of money in circulation each day is huge. As a result, many banks have branches here just to get a slice of the profits. To the traders here, the upcoming Somali Reconstruction and Investment Conference is a step in the right direction.
I have lived in Kenya for 21 years. At the moment, I see a lot of hope for Somalia. I am very keen to invest in my country, and in about 1 year's time, I will go and set up a factory that will service the construction industry. That way, I will also provide jobs for people there.
Kilimanjaro Food Court is one of the high-end restaurants in Eastleigh. This is where Somalis in the diaspora converge often to mingle and even share business ideas. And many here are following the conference with keen interest.
The latest development in Somalia are very encouraging. Somalis from Europe, America and other Western nations stop by here. Their thoughts are similar. They all want to return and rebuild their country. After staying away for more than 2 decades, and not only Somalis, even Kenyans and other East Africans are showing interest in Somalia.
Somalia boasts a large coastline in the region, Organizers of the investment conference are keen to advertise the opportunities in building seaports, tourism and fishing. Other sectors that are likely to attract great interest are oil exploration, real estate and infrastructure projects. Ahmed Abdile has been running Dream Mattresses Limited since 2008. He specializes in home decor. Currently, he serves customers from the East and Central Africa from the heart of Eastleigh. As much as he supports the drive to attract investors, he is skeptical about the possible quick fix.
The government is new and the country needs to recover the chaos that it went through for years. And I don't think we will just automatically go back and open a shop like this all of a sudden and settle like this in a matter of days. I think it will take some time.
For the past 10 years, business has been growing gradually here in Eastleigh, thanks to the Somali investors who've been living in this country as refugees. A little-known suburb has become one of the main business centers in Kenya. Now, these are the investors that the new Somali government wants to attract back home to help reconstruct the country. Noel Makugu, CCTV, Nairobi.
All right, so let's discuss this further. Mohammed Noor is Somalia's ambassador to Kenya. He joins us here in Nairobi from other studios. Mr. Noor, thank you for joining us. So today was the first day of the Somali Reconstruction and Investment Conference. It runs till tomorrow, Wednesday. What are your expectations in regards to this forum?
That's very true. Today was the one of the first kind that we had the Somali Reconstruction and Investment Conference that took place in Nairobi. For the last over 20 years, we had civil war in Somalia, but the last few months we have stability, peace coming back to Somalia. We have the first Somali federal government elections in Mogadishu, in the capital city of Somalia. Peace are coming back, and today we had over 55 to be exact companies who registered to present their companies, and we had another 20 who wanted to showcase their companies. And it was really a good exhibition that we had today in Nairobi.
So, Mr. Noor, security, even as you engage all of these investors, has remained a key concern for people wanting to do business in Somalia. What measures are being taken to ensure that there is ample security, even as you try to woo these investors?
The Somali federal government's priority it's security. And the Somali National Army and the police forces have done a tremendous good job in securing the cities in Somalia. Most of the cities have been liberated from Shabab, of course with the help of armed forces, contributing countries, Kenya being one of them, Uganda, Burundi, Djibouti, and also Ethiopian forces, and we defeated them. That's why we are seeing a lot of companies, business coming back to Somalia. In Mogadishu, for example, there's a lot of construction going on. Before you used to hear gunshots. Nowadays you hear the nails and the construction going on. That's why the Somali government, as I said, is doing a good job in bringing back peace and stability in Somalia.
Now, as you talk about bringing investments back to Mogadishu, are there sectors perhaps that the Somali government feels are of prime importance that perhaps even require more funds than the others?
That's very true. Some of the sectors that we believe are very important are some basic services for the people, such as hospitals, schools, roads, boreholes and wells for the people. And those are the things that the government is really making them to be its fair priorities for the people, because as I said earlier, we had civil wars and people did not have these services. That's why now we're trying to make them to be the priorities.
All right, Mohammed Noor, they're joining us from other studios in Nairobi. Thanks very much for that. Let's turn to the north of the continent. And Egypt has produced its very first tablet computer, INAR, in part of a national project to distribute the device to students in schools and universities around the country. The Ministry of Military Production, in collaboration with the Ministry of Communications, presented the scheme last year by electronics company Catron, which plans to roll out 10,000 units this year. CCTV's Maria Galang has the story.
Egypt plans to have the computer replace books and notebooks in educational institutions as the country develops and modernizes its education system.
After the revolution, there was an urgent need to develop the education system in Egypt. Being an effective entity, the Ministry for Military Production partnered up with the Ministry of Communication to find something that will be given to students instead of carrying books in school bags. Therefore, we created this tablet that you see in its different stages of development.
Weighing 750 grams, Inara comes equipped with a USB port. It is 3G and Wi-Fi enabled and has a 9.7-inch screen, 2 computers and an Android 4.0 operating system. It has a built-in memory of 8 gigabytes and also storage capacity of up to 32 gigabytes. The battery can last up to 5 hours while on standby. Its battery life is around 16 hours.
We're just trying to do something positive for the sake of our country and for the sake of the country's current situation, and God willing, I hope we shall be successful.
Catron currently produces 300 units of the tablet computer per day and has already distributed the device to a number of university students. The company plans on developing their machinery to increase their daily output and meet rising demand. The company will be expected to cover not only Egypt's education system, one of the largest education systems in the Middle East and Africa, according to a British Council study, but also neighboring Gulf countries have requested Catron to produce tablet computers for their students.
With regards to external demand, we have in fact been asked by Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Kuwait to deliver orders of the tablet. All of our neighboring countries are in contact with us to make our Egyptian tablet available to them.
The tablet sells for 1,555 Egyptian pounds, about $220 US, but it is sold to the Ministry of Education at a subsidized price in order to encourage the education project. Established in 1964, Catron has been producing personal and manufacturing computers for decades. Its products include microwave equipment, televisions and audio recorders. Maria Galang, CCTV.
And staying in Egypt, the country aims to issue its debut sovereign Islamic bond, or sukuk, early next year to help ease pressure on its public finances. A prospectus for a new $12 billion bond showed that some proceeds are earmarked to finance a portion of its budget deficit. A conventional issue under the program could materialize before then, however, should market conditions be conducive. The bond program prospectus said that the government would continue to work with the International Monetary Fund to meet the necessary requirements to secure the $4.8 billion loan. Let's move on to Zimbabwe, which is losing over $50 million worth of gold every month to smuggling activities. That's according to the country's Minerals Marketing Corporation. The corporation's director, Tendai Munyoro, is quoted in local media blaming the problem on the lack of a regulator, exposing the industry to unscrupulous operators who finance the purchase of gold illegally and have it smuggled out of the country. Before the inception of the multi-currency regime in 2009, Fidelity Printers acted as a regulator and would buy the precious metal from registered gold producers under a government support price facility. The corporation has since been incapacitated by lack of government funding. Well, it's 41 minutes past the hour. You're watching BizAfrica. Let's take a break. Coming up, how child labor in Uganda's gold mines is taking the shine off its artisanal mining industry.
Talking tough on trade, conflicts over currency, and connecting economies around the world. From Tokyo to Shanghai and Mumbai, BizAsia links you live to the markets and brings you all the latest in business from China's unique perspective. BizAsia, a smart investment for your time.
Back to BizAfrica. Now, there is no doubt that Nelson Mandela is one of the most revered statesmen in the world. The international icon will turn 95 in July. The former South African president spends most of his days quietly in his home in the Eastern Cape region of the country. But some members of his family are creating quite a bit of noise. Mandela's daughters, Makaziwe and Zenani, have been embroiled in a bitter legal battle over the Mandela Trust. The Mandela Trust was set up years ago when Mandela stepped down as president. Funds for Mandela paintings and other products flow into this trust. The money is meant to be disbursed to the family, but Mandela hoped that this money will last for generations. It seems, though, from this legal spat that has gone public, that the daughters want immediate access to the funds. That particular case is still ongoing in court, but while it drags on, what exactly is it doing to the Mandela brand? We're joined by Shoni Makari, Chief Executive Officer of Pink Flow Communications. He's live in Johannesburg. Thank you very much, Mr. Makari, for joining us. And of course, you are familiar with this case between the Mandela daughters and the Mandela Trust directors on the other hand. Give us the latest on that.
As you and your viewers are aware, I'm sure, the Mandela family has a lot of respect in this country and abroad, and a lot of people obviously were surprised with the developments of the past few weeks. What has happened is that obviously the Mandela daughters, as you've indicated earlier, have been trying to gain access of the trusts, and in such a way that obviously they could distribute the funds. That is according to the reports that we've seen here in South Africa and indeed abroad. And the way they've been trying to do this was to try and remove or challenge rather the lawyers that the Mandela allegedly appointed to look after his interests, or rather look after the affairs of his trusts. And the daughters have been arguing that the two lawyers, Mr. Chwene and Mr. Bezos, a popular human rights lawyer in South Africa, were improperly appointed, and that is what they've been trying to do, to try and remove them from the positions they hold in terms of the responsibility of the trust, so that they can have direct access. And as I said, that is what the reports have been saying. Obviously, I have not had direct access to the original documents, but that is what the reports have been saying in the local press.
There is a lot that's riding on the Mandela name as a brand. Mr. Makari, there's a lot that's riding on the Mandela name as a brand. There are those people who seem to think that the lure of money will split the family, will have Mandela's name dragged into the mud. Are there chances of this happening?
I don't really think so. I mean, I think the Mandela name represents far more than what we are obviously seeing happening at a family level. I mean, if one were to use an example of Paris Hilton, her lifestyle is very different to the brand Hilton in terms of the Hilton chain of hotels. And what Paris Hilton does has absolutely no bearing in terms of people's decisions, for instance, to stay at the Hilton Hotel. So I would look at the Mandela brand and what is happening at family level in similar light. Quite frankly. The squabbles, I'm afraid, provide good copy for tabloids, but I don't think it goes beyond that in terms of how people perceive what the Mandela name represents.
I mean, you drew comparisons there with the Paris Hilton brand. Obviously, Mandela's brand is quite huge. There are even people who actually compare it to Coca-Cola, even Microsoft. Just how big is this brand? Do we have any figure?
Well, it's easier to put a figure, be it a yuan or a dollar, on a Coca-Cola or a Microsoft, because all you do is, you strip out the net asset value, and what remains more or less represents the brand equity. But Microsoft and Coca-Cola sell stuff. The Mandela brand is far beyond that. It represents an idea, and it will be very difficult for anyone to put a price on the Mandela brand.
All right, Mr. Shoni Makari, live there in Johannesburg, thanks very much for joining us this evening. Now, when it comes to gold deposits, Eastern Uganda's Busia district is abundant in the mineral. However, its residents, most of them who work in the mines for a living, are anything but rich. Underage school children have been lured into the trade against the country's laws that forbid child labor, all in a bid to contribute to the family's income. Here's CCTV's Alan Charo with that story.
With a basin and a shovel, Ivan wades into the stream and starts digging. These rudimentary tools are his family's lifeline. he's engaging in the risky business of artisan gold mining to be able to afford basic provisions for both himself and his family. Working for more than 8 hours a day, it is a tiresome occupation, especially for an 11-year-old. But the outcome of earning up to $4 a day is far too satisfying for a boy's age. Ivan lives in Uganda's eastern district of Busia, where over 62% of the population lives on less than $1 a day.
It is hard when you are getting dirty gold. You first get the bastion, you start working very hard. After that you get gold. And other times you cannot get. After giving us money, we use for buying clothes. That times we use for just eating, buying shoes.
The World Bank regards this village in eastern Uganda as the biggest gold mine deposits in eastern Central Africa. But there is nothing to show that Busia holds 52 square miles of gold. 16 kilometers west of the Kenyan border, it is a mere shadow of the immeasurable mineral wealth it holds. The people here wallow in abject poverty, hence forcing parents to let their children drop out of school in favor of the more lucrative mining.
You know, there when they go there, some can even get some money and they went to town, something like that, doesn't want to go to school, maybe when he has some 20,000 per day, so he doesn't mind about school.
Parents, however, blame the high dropout rate on schools charging high tuition fees, despite the fact that the Ugandan government offers free education programs. As a measure against the practice, Busia district authorities have implemented a fine of 50,000 Uganda shillings, about $20 for parents whose children are found working in the mines. Uganda's gold industry has seen radical increase in gold production. In 2005, gold made up to 9% of the country's exports according to Revenue Watch. In 2006, gold brought in $122 million. Gold appears to be widely distributed throughout Uganda, but it has been exploited by artisan miners in a few areas. When these miners strike gold, they can earn up to $100 a day, a pretty sum in a country where majority of the population lives under $1 a day. Alan Chiror, CCTV, Busia, Eastern Uganda.
All right, as we wrap up Biz this, let's take a look at some of the major bourses in the continent and how they traded. Really, it's a bit of a mixed bag, really. Looking at the Nigeria All-Share Index, dipped today, closing the day in the red, 37,359.53 points. Let's head to the Africa's largest economy, JSE All-Share Index, in the green, just about a percentage point there, 41,789 points. And the Nairobi Securities Exchange also in the green, closing the day at 4,967.75 points. And finally to the EGX, as well in the green, there are almost about 2 percentage points, closing the day at 5,407.95 points.